My name's Paul Rimmer from the National Housing Party. I just want to first comment, 1976, Brian started. I joined the National Front in 1976, 50 years ago. But I was 10 years younger than Brian, so I'll put some time on it. But since then, I've been a member of 8 different parties. There's 7 on here, I've been a member of 8, so I've topped that. But my main claim to fame was stuff for Mayor of Liverpool twice, got thousands of votes for the English Democrats, and then I stood for Police Commissioner, got 7,132 votes, which is quite a substantial vote for a minor party. We had great campaigns, but the situation now is unique. I've never known it in England or Britain. I mean, we're all divided into English, Scottish, and Welsh today, but in Britain. Like I work on the door in a pub and I speak to a lot of people, and that Liverpool is no longer Labour. There's real hostility to the Labour Party now. Keir Starmer must be the most unpopular leader in the history of this nation. Nobody can stomach the guy. Why? Because he hates us. He's the enemy of the British people. He finds us disgusting. The only sort of terms he can use to describe us is racist, fascist, whatever, far right. And he uses these terms all the time when English people mobilise over this issue. But the issue of immigration has got people really concerned now, because they're moving people into every street, every vacant house. There's a family from Africa, family from the subcontinent, family from the Middle East coming in. And people are saying, where can we live? We've heard this problem of homelessness, of overcrowding. It's absolutely insane. But there's a sense now that the indigenous people of this country, the white and the people who came after the war, mixed race people who can claim blood connection to this country, are being relegated down the scale. We're being pushed to the back of the queue. In the welfare state, they're taking our welfare state off us. Not just the NHS. Our kids are being discriminated against in education. We're being pushed out of all the social credit that is available in this society, including benefits, housing, everything. We're being pushed to the back of the queue. And yet the immigrants, who've never contributed anything, are going right to the top. There's a sort of insanity in that.
Absolutely.
And it's creating a horror. You've got to capture the emotions of this, because I went into the barber's 2 days ago to get my locks trimmed, and I've never heard people talk like that. They'd moved further right than me. They're absolutely horrified at what's happening in our society. Ordinary people, apolitical people, non-political people. In Liverpool, mostly Labour voters. In Glasgow, they've been mostly Labour voters. They're absolutely disgusted with the Labour Party. The Labour Party is not our party anymore. We know the Tory Party got comprehensively rejected at the last election, and it's not coming back, is it? No. Who seriously has listened to Kenny Badenoch and taken it seriously? Nobody. So this huge vacuum has opened up in British politics. This huge opportunity. Now at the moment, Nigel Farage got in there with reform and he's built a real Titanic force, but it might sink like the Titanic. But on top of that, the Green Party have now got on board. They are expanding, they're getting a lot of members. We get all these sort of radical fringe leftist parties soaking the support from Labour. But there's opportunities now. People, their old identities are falling away, and they're prepared to listen to different voices, and they're prepared to vote for different parties. And you can see this in the by-elections. Now, obviously, in this cycle, it's going to be reform, because they're at the forefront of people's consciousness, you know. They're the party that are claiming alternatives. I mean, Pat has fought a sterling campaign in Holborn, and because it's so street level and personal, he might get in. I mean, Pete Malloy won in Sedgefield fighting that sort of local campaign, but it's a tough campaign to go. But we can climb on the shoulders of reform. We can take what they've done and we can say, no, we've got to go further. Because this crisis cannot be overcome by old-style politics in Westminster. We need radicalism. We need a revolution in this country. We really do. I mean, that word can be overused, but we've got to turn everything around, because the momentum of the last 60 years is all dragging us down into the pit, destroying this country. Now, I'm sure many of you here have heard of the Kalergi Plan, the deliberate intention to replace the indigenous populations of Europe with third world immigrants. That plan now is in full motion, and it's reaching almost levels of success. It's almost going to win. But the thing is, all it's going to produce is chaos. All it's going to produce is economic decline. All it's going to produce is the crumbling of our state and the collapse of our welfare state. All it's going to produce is fear for everyone in this society. The breakup, our cohesion will go, our safety's going, we know that. We're seeing people now that's scared to let the daughters out in so many areas. There's horror in this country. There is a sense now, the horror. It's amazing how intense people are becoming about this. But even if the clergy fund succeeds, it's going to be an absolute catastrophe. It could never actually sustain itself. So the people of this country have got loyalty to this country, who've got roots in this country, who've got a real commitment to this country. We've got to stay together. We've got to rally the ranks, and we've got to fight back, even though it might look desperate at times. Even though it looks like we, the British people, are being pushed out and there's no hope for us. We've got to fight back, we've got to mobilise, we've got to reform, in the best sense, and take control again. And this is what this movement is all about. This is why it's so great, because so many people think like this. So many people are aware that we need radical change, that we need to mobilise people to do something different, because we've got to overthrow the globalist elite. This is the problem with reform. They've got roots in the globalist elite. And once they get in power, the Westminster blob and global capitalism will saturate them and suck the life out of them. And they won't get the radicalism that we need. But we've got to be there, because this radicalism is no longer an option in this country. We have to really address this situation now. We have to stop it and reverse it. It's not that we won't have a future in this country. There will be no future for this country. Because all the immigrants that are coming in, whether they're from the Middle East or North Africa or Sub-Saharan Africa, they're not going to build a proper society in this country. They're coming in basically as parasites to leech off what's gone before. They can't recreate Britain. So therefore there's no hope. And therefore we are the only hope, because we know how to do it in this country. We've got a track record of success which goes back over 1,000 years. We know what works in Britain, and we've got to get control again. We've got to get control of the politics. We've got to become the ruling class of this country, the people. This is the people have got to reclaim this country. That's why we've got to realise this is a revolutionary process that we're engaged in. And for the first time in my life, I think the British people are really, they're up for it. They know that the status quo cannot continue. They know that this trajectory that we're on to destruction has got to be reversed, to give anyone hope, to give their children hope. And so everyone here is so important, because we're the catalyst of that movement. We're the catalyst. You see, where reform will only go so far, we can go further. I mean, on social media, you've got Rupert Lowe, he's saying some great stuff on social media. You've got Benedict with the Vance, but we've got to go further than that. But the way that we bring freedom, unity, alliance, coming together in freedom, it's a winning combination. It's a winning combination. And really, we need to up our game, energise our movement, and project our message, and let people know that we're there, and they will start to join us. We've got to become a mass movement, and as Ryan said, social media is such a platform for that. Yeah. Social media can mobilise the people of this country. The elite can no longer control the narrative. Reform won't be able to control the narrative. We can create our own story. We can this is what we've got to do. We've got to get our needs in the forefront of British politics.
Jesus Christ.
Now, Jesus Christ, whatever, but you know what I'm hearing now? People saying, everyone's just talking about immigration, and the Labour politicians are saying, we're sick of talking about immigration. Immigration is the issue. Without borders, without security, we can't build anything. So this is our issue, because we are the people who are being saturated and being overwhelmed. And therefore, we're the underdogs, we're the oppressed, and we've got to break free of that. But we've got a tradition in England that goes back a long way. You can go back to Oliver Cromwell, you can go back to the Charters, you can go back to the Peasant Rebellion, you can go back to all the movements which have empowered ordinary people in this country, the democratic process. You can see all the bills that came, the Great Reform Act 1832, the Second Reform Act 1867, Universal Franchise 1918. This is what people demanded. It's our country, we want it back, and we're going to take it back, and it's this movement that will give it the opportunity. Yeah.